Hi guys, it's Stephanie. It's Saturday, February 5th. So, this is my last day working. This was my 6th day working consecutive days. And today was a nippy day, but it wasn't freezing. It hasn't been sunny all day. It's overcast and cloudy, but it didn't stop people from going out Saturday night. I got home from work and I prepared my supper for the next few days, and it's all stored away in the fridge. And I went off for a little drive to one of my favorite spots in the city, and I wore this sweater because it's nippy outside. I had a friend. She's a subscriber on my channel, and she has a transgender friend, and she asked me if I could make a video about at least 20 things that trans people worry about in everyday life. So before I continue this, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers who have been with me since last year and supporting me also this year. And if you're a visitor just visiting my channel for the first time and you're browsing through my videos, if you find something that resonates with you, please consider subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up, guys. Talk to you guys very, very soon. So this is my list of 20 things that trans people worried about in the beginning, and sometimes some of the things on this list may bother us still. Number 1, using a public restroom. Having to limit your liquid intake in order to avoid using the restroom is not an ideal situation. For a lot of us, the restroom can be very uncomfortable and even dangerous. Can you imagine a trans man walking into a male bathroom and he's identified as a woman, okay, and he's attacked by a cis male? That's not good. That's where the dangerous part is. A trans woman may be discriminated against, but I don't think another woman is going to come up to you and pick a fight with you. They may try to make a scenery and try to belittle you and try to bring attention to you that you're a guy in a woman's bathroom. That's already happened. It's already been broadcasted nationwide on TV rooms, and it's gone all the way to our state representatives, and they've made legislation about it now that most states do not allow trans people to use a woman's bathroom. The fight isn't so much about trans men. because I think trans men, they transition very well, and even see, their hormones can actually change your voice and give you an appearance, a very strong appearance of a male. They have a problem in the beginning. If a trans woman is transitioning and she can only go so far with the transition, she could have problems along the way when she's using the women's bathrooms. So the scenario here is, if you're out in public somewhere and if you're getting clocked, the best thing to do if you don't feel comfortable is try to find a gender-neutral bathroom which you can use. And these days, because this has become such a political thing in society, most states now provide gender-neutral bathrooms. Number 2, clothes shopping. Clothing stores tend to separate articles of clothing and accessories by sex in every department. This seems to be a great way of displaying merchandise. It can be extremely problematic for everyone. For a trans person especially, it can be a nightmare for us, trying to shop in the department they feel comfortable in without awkward stares or comments from people. For cisgender people, those who do not identify as transgender, it reinforces stereotypes associated with gender, sex, and can be harmful. By separating items by traditional gender means it discourages the idea of wearing what you want rather than what society tells you to wear based on your gender. So it's very rare that you go out shopping and you'll catch a trans person buying clothes. A lot of us having Amazon, we end up ordering our clothes right online. And now, with the quick deliveries, you can have your clothes within 5 days or less. When I was young, that's what I did. I ordered a lot of my clothes online. Amazon wasn't known back then, but I got it within 2 weeks. I think society is changing slowly, and for the most part, people are respectful about the LGBT community or trans people out shopping. It's not just clothes, but it's pretty much a lot of things. Number 4, being transgender. Whether you're a trans man or a trans woman, we have certain routines that we have to do or perform every single morning and every single night. In the morning, we have to shower. We have to get dressed. We have to put on makeup. I have to shave my legs, okay? I might have to shave my arms maybe once or twice a month. But for trans men, they have to put on their chest pads or extra lump in that place to look more masculine. And then when nighttime comes, they have to take it all down, okay? And these are things that make us feel secure during the day, and it helps us to represent ourselves in society. At night can be especially hard taking it all off because you can't go to bed with a full face of makeup. Even a cisgender woman washes off her makeup, you know. And sometimes for trans men, when they have to take all the stuff off that gives them the encouragement and the strength to be themselves during the day, it almost reminds them that they're still a woman at night. So that's the night routine, you know, taking it all off. Number 6 for me was looking in the mirror. I described to you in a different video that I used to get up every morning when I was living at home with my parents. I had to go get up early because I had to hog up the bathroom. We only had one bathroom, and I had this routine where I would look in the mirror and I will be reminded of what society is also seeing, something that I couldn't change. It's a big deal for many of us trans people because it is a reminder that our outside doesn't necessarily match our inside. It is very easy to pick out what you perceive to be flaws or imperfections, weaknesses and insecurities when you are literally face to face with them. Number 7, speaking to strangers. Though it may sound like a simple concept to most, meeting and interacting with strangers has the possibility of being very triggering for many. Not only is it more likely to be misgendered, but the sound of one's voice has the power to determine which gender they are thought to be. Whether their voice is higher or lower pitched, it can cause careless assumptions about the person's gender. You know, that's very interesting. I never had a voice change. My voice change is neither man's nor a woman. My voice is somewhere in the middle. And I get outed mostly on the telephone because the electronics pick out what gender you are. They're very sensitive equipment, and you can't really, you know. And I get told the wrong pronouns sometimes on the phone. It's up to me how I take it because they can't see me. So, number 8, dating and flirting. Many people can understand that the dating world can be a real struggle for us. But finding someone comfortable with you for who you truly are can be an extra difficulty when it comes to your love life. The preferences of others can often make or break a relationship in regards to sexual orientation and gender identity. And this is one of those things trans people worry about that heavily impacts our life. Yes. When I first came out as trans, I didn't date for 10 years. 10 years. Wow. This was after my second divorce. The reason why I didn't date for 10 years was because I wanted to be complete. I'm not going to go into a relationship incomplete. Do I have to sit there with them and explain to them my whole life? Okay. Do I have to explain to them why I can't have them touch something that's supposed to be there that isn't? You understand what I'm talking about. So that does impact our lives. I would say at least 70% to 80% of us will go through our life without being in a committed, loving relationship. That's a reality. We are a minority within a minority. Number 9, finances. This is a big one. There really is no way to sugarcoat this one. Being trans is expensive. Hormone treatments, a new wardrobe, surgeries, binders, legal name changes, etc. All these really add up over time. It isn't much of a surprise that many trans people are struggling financially, mostly due to the cost of their transition, no matter what stage that they're at. That's true. I do have a video out on my channel that I tell you what the cost of my transition was. Okay? It took me a few years to complete my transition. I worked multiple jobs for many, many, many years. If you're a a male to female trans person, and if you want to go ahead with a full transition, then be prepared because it's long and expensive. Number 10, people using the wrong pronouns with you and calling you by the wrong name. This is referred to as what I call dead named. Dead named. Many people will have a hard time adjusting to the name change of a loved one. Understandably so. My parents, once in a while, call me by my old name, and I absolutely can't stand it. Some trans people are okay with it because they love their parents, but to me, according to my therapist back then, she said they shouldn't screw up at least, they shouldn't screw up more than 3 times. After that, they should get it down. Some parents are stubborn on purpose, and they just don't want to kill off their old person or acknowledge you. That's true. Legally changing your name is sometimes difficult and expensive, leaving it out as an option for many. This doesn't mean their name is invalid or it is wrong to use a name they prefer. In fact, it is disrespectful to not use a name one prefers to be called. And also, please don't ask someone what their old name was. I had a couple of people in my life ask me what my old name was. There is no reason they should be asking me that. If they're asking you that, I would disconnect because there's other issues going on with them about being with you, okay? All they need to know is who you are, especially when you change your name legally. You are under no obligation to share your own name, and there's no reason to do that. Because these can affect you psychologically, okay? Being called ma'am or sir, number 11. Trying to determine someone's gender can be pretty difficult sometimes, making it rather easy to call someone the wrong respectful term. However, when ma'am or sir is applied in line with a person's preference, it is sure to put a smile on their face and reassure them that they are what is called passing. Okay. Most people will respect you. Some may not. Some may not call you sir or ma'am. For a while there, I had other associates in my old stores taking me to help out customers, and they would say, "This person will help you." They had issues with calling me by my name. Why can't they say, "Stephanie will help you," instead of, "This person will help you," or "This associate will help you"? That's because they're having inner struggles and they don't want to use the name that you want them to use. They don't want to use your legal name. Okay. Number 12, lacking representation. The lack of representation in the media and in everyday life of transgender people unarguably leads to ignorance. This has the ability to confuse people and cause them to not understand what's it meant to be transgender or how to appropriately interact with someone who is trans. Representation, awareness, and education are the key to understanding and goes hand in hand with respect and acceptance. That's right. I totally agree with that. Without representation in the media and society, we'd have to expect it that the road is going to be much further than it needs to be. Okay? That means that we're not really paving the way for possible trans teens and trans kids to live out a happy life. Number 13, answering intrusive questions. Though asking questions is typically a good way to educate yourself, many times people will ask trans people questions that are not comfortable asking. Some will answer them, yes, but many will feel violated with questions regarding their legal name, genitalia, sexuality, etc. It is always best to keep in mind how you would feel if asked these questions before trying to pry answers with an uncomfortable interview full of personal questions. As said before, you are under no obligation to associate with someone who's asking you these questions or about what genitalia you have in between your legs. Okay? There are people who don't know you from Adam. Most people that will ask this do not know you. Okay? They most likely just met you and they're looking you over to try to make you out or decide what's going on. Someone who's been your friend for a long time will never ask you. Or if you're in the service industry and you've made good rapport with a lot of people over the years, these people will never ask you. They respect you. Whether they know or they don't know, they don't really care. Someone who asks you that is just purely offensive. And in my view, in retrospect, I just stay away from them. So, going to the doctor, number 14. Visiting a health professional can lead to many issues in the transgender community. Many doctors and staff are not fully educated on trans-related topics, and it can be tedious and embarrassing to attend an appointment full of explanations. On top of that, many trans people cannot even go to the doctor because they cannot get approved for health insurance, simply because a company does not cover people with that lifestyle and are often denied coverage. This is still going on in many conservative states. However, bigger corporations like the Home Depot, Lowe's, Microsoft, General Motors, General Electric, big corporations already have health insurance for trans people. Okay? And they have transgender rights in their non-discrimination at their jobs. But in those states, you don't have no protections in those conservative states. So thank God for corporations. Thank God that I have health insurance on my job. Number 15 is discrimination and violence. Discrimination, it can happen anywhere, at any time, from anyone. Being discriminated against for attempting to be your genuine self is truly heartbreaking. Many trans people fear for their physical safety. Hate crimes, assaults, attacks, even murder are fears. Every year there are murders and there are assaults and there are hate crimes being taken place. In 1 year, I think there were 38 deaths in our country because of hate crimes. And some states, there are no hate crime laws. Okay? So, be careful where you go. Okay? I don't go to nightclubs at night. I did that when I was young. But there's a lot of young trans people going to nightclubs in the big cities, and that's where they run into trouble. Why? Because there's alcohol, and there's men, okay? Cisgender men, okay? Why do you go to these nightclubs? Okay? Why? Especially if your transition is not even done? Why are you dating someone as a trans woman and you still have your genitalia and the person you're dating doesn't even know? That can trigger discrimination and violence. That's the number one cause of a lot of deaths here, okay? Be around people who don't know you or have never seen you before and are homophobes. Number 16, acting too masculine or too feminine. Liking a certain color, style, pattern, a television show or a movie, type of clothing, and many more preferences are often paired with either sex. A male acting feminine or a female acting more masculine is not something abnormal. In fact, it is abnormal to assume someone's sex or gender based on the things that they like. Okay? Also, the way one speaks, walks, or carries his or herself should not be determined whether they are a man or a woman, neither or both in the eyes of others. But this is what's happening in society. We're judged by how we act and how we sound and what colors we like and how we walk. There's nothing wrong with a guy liking the color pink, okay? And that a woman should love monster trucks or not, okay? I know girls who love to go shooting. Does that mean they're a butch? Okay. I still love watching car shows. Okay. I've owned at least 3 motorcycles as a trans woman, and more so when I was a man, when I lived as a man. Should I stop liking those things just because I've transitioned into a woman? Absolutely not. Should society judge me because I do? Should society judge you because you want to be a hairstylist? No, but society does. 17, using social media. Social media has the potential to make anyone feel uncomfortable, whether it be cyberbullying, opinionated posts, or old photographs on your profile. Many people find social media as an easy way to be targeted. Presenting yourself as the gender you feel fits you best on the internet can be risky, and it takes a lot of strength and courage. Leaving up old pictures in posts can be revealing and annoying reminder for many, resulting in discomfort and dysphoria. Putting your life out there to the world takes some guts and a whole lot of bravery. I don't have a problem with having a YouTube channel because my main topics on my channel are to support trans people and to showcase my life in motion, to document my life, whether how exciting or however boring. But the one thing I'll never do is I'll never post my old pictures of how I used to look before I transitioned on social media. I won't do it on Facebook, okay? I won't share those things. I'll talk about it the way I'm talking right now to show support, but that's about it. 18, hormones. We all know that hormones can make us kind of crazy sometimes. Being on hormone replacement or HRT can really affect our lives. Acting, thinking, and responding to things differently than you are used to can be troubling sometimes. Imagine going through puberty all over again. Enough said. These are the most critical things trans people worry about. I've discussed being on hormones many times on my channel, and if you're a trans woman, you'll have days where you're very emotional. In the beginning, it's like I just mentioned, you're repeating puberty all over again. It's hard, But once you get over that hump, it becomes a lot easier. But you do become more emotional on estradiol as a trans woman. Also, everything that bothers you or things that people say is amplified and magnified with the use of HRT or hormones. Okay, you're just more sensitive. Number 19 is actually a really biggie. I just talked about that a little while ago. Many conservative states are changing laws as to women, trans women, participating in cisgender female sports. This one goes back to the bathroom dilemma. Which team? Unless an integrated sport, playing a sport can be challenging. Many trans people on HRT are often denied access to participate in sports because hormones are steroids. Binding your chest for trans men can be very dangerous when exercising. In fact, exercising in general is another struggle for many transgender individuals. Today, participating in sports for trans women has met a brick wall. It's illegal now for trans women to participate in sports that birth women are involved in. That means that you won't play tennis against another cisgender woman because it's unfair. They find it unfair, okay? Especially a college sport where you've lived most of your life before that time as a male, okay? I also have seen trans men participating in cisgender men sports like UFC fighting, okay, or boxing. I don't think it's a good idea because the men usually pulverize trans men. It's not good. It's not fair. However, I do feel if you transitioned before puberty, you have every right to participate in female sports because your secondary and primary male characteristics have not formed. You have the right to participate. But because society is uneducated, they don't think like that. I do. Number 20 and the last one is mental health issues. With all these things to worry about, it's not a surprise many trans people suffer from mental illnesses, whether it be about how they feel or how others feel about them. Being trans can be a struggle, okay, for many of us, and often leads to other issues. A teenager suicide rate is one of the highest. Being a trans teen, now it's doubled, okay? Transgender teenagers have a 40+% of committing suicide in our country and around the world. They don't have the right support. They don't have the right representation, and that's why it's so high. Okay, rejection is one of the biggest things with trans people when they're young and when they're older. Okay, even celebrity trans people have committed suicide. Why? Their whole lives have changed. We've been removed out of the society loop of socially interacting with people. Not our doing, it's cisgender people doing. You know, it's not easy. We have to hang in there. I think the solution is, as trans people, we need to come together to support one another. This is the end of my 20 lists of what we trans people find things that worry us. And I think it's a good list. I hope you guys have a nice night and for the trans folks out there, my sisters and brothers, if you find this helpful, or if you're just coming out, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment, okay? Talk to you guys soon. Bye. Guys, that concludes this evening's film.